In the air above a desolate rock island, 7 silhouettes appeared out of nowhere. It was Crow Sage, Bark Mirror Emperor and the rest. Desolate Rock Island. Just as the information described, it really is desolate. We're here. Crow Sage, Bark Mirror Emperor and the rest surveyed their surroundings, their gazes sharpened. They couldn't help but be careful after entering the 9 Hell dimension. Desolate Rock Island is still safe but there are no treasures. This island is also very small, once we leave it'll be dangerous. Bark Mirror Emperor's voice was naturally sharp. He glanced at the others. I'm preparing to explore the 9 Hell Ocean to find treasures. This 9 Hell Ocean is the most dangerous place in the entire 9 Hell dimension. Whether you guys want to follow, it's up to you. 9 Hell Ocean? Bark Mirror Emperor, you're going to 9 Hell Ocean? The other 5 Undyings were shocked. Bark Mirror King saw this and snickered. These 5 Undyings were all from the North Border Alliance. They were from the same faction as him, so he gave them some face and brought them along. But asking Mirror Monarch to find treasures for these 5 people was simply a pipe dream. He didn't have the time to do that. Bark Mirror Emperor, you're really going to 9 Hell Ocean? Why don't we go to the other islands first? Bark Mirror Emperor glanced at the 5 and snorted coldly, looking at Crow Sage. Crow Sage, what about you? Even though he had a few companions here, the only one he cared about was Crow Sage. After all, he was a universe sage, his strength was similar to Bark Mirror Emperor's. 9 Hell Ocean was a truly dangerous place. With a helper it would be much safer. The other 5 couldn't be blamed for not daring to go. The entire 9 Hell dimension was actually an endless ocean. There were thousands of islands in it. The inheritors mostly went there to explore and search for treasures. Very few dared to go deep into 9 Hell Ocean because it was extremely vast. The treasures it contained probably exceeded all the other islands combined, but the danger also exceeded all the other islands combined. The most dangerous place in 9 Hell Ocean was the 9 Hell Whirlpool. Within the ocean there would occasionally be some whirlpools. Once one fell into the whirlpool and entered the core area of the 9 Nether Sea, even a universe venerable's chances of survival were less than 1 in 100. Since King Bark Mirror wants to go to the 9 Underworld Sea, I'll follow you. But King Bark Mirror won't enter the 9 Underworld's whirlpool, right? Venerable Zia said worriedly. Of course not. Although I am confident, I will not blindly throw my life away. Bark Mirror Monarch shook his head. There are dangers everywhere in the 9 Underworld Sea. I would still dare to venture into other places, but if I were to see the 9 Underworld's whirlpool in the 9 Underworld Sea, I would definitely avoid it long ago. How would I dare to explore it? Venerable Crow heaved a sigh of relief and said, then I will join forces with you to explore the 9 Underworld Sea. Ha ha. Bark Mirror Monarch immediately laughed. His voice was ear-piercing. Venerable Crowned Crow also laughed. While the two of them were like this, the other 5 Undying inheritors exchanged glances, secretly communicating with each other. What do we do? Venerable Crowned Crow and Bark Mirror Monarch are going to the 9 Underworld Sea. What do we do? Without the two of them, if the 5 of us were to explore the other islands, we would most likely die. If we follow Venerable Crowned Crow and Bark Mirror Monarch, who knows, we might be able to go to a more mystical place. Who knows, we might even be able to obtain some treasures. We are their teammates, they definitely won't dare to do anything to us. We have also been trapped in the extreme realm for countless years. This time we are gambling with our lives. Let's risk it all, I will follow them. Go, me too. The legendary most dangerous 9 Underworld Sea. If we die in the 9 Underworld Sea, it will be worth it. The 5 Undying inheritors quickly made their plans. Venerable Crowned Crow, Bark Mirror Monarch, since the two of you are going, we will naturally follow as well. Right. The 5 of us are in the 9 Underworld space, any place of danger will most likely die. Why not go with the two of you? We will all go. Bark Mirror Monarch and Venerable Crowned Crow were naturally happy to accept. Everyone, let me first explore the surrounding 1 billion kilometers to see what dangers there are. Bark Mirror Monarch said. Bark Mirror Monarch, please. The other 6, including Venerable Crowned Crow, moved aside. In terms of scouting methods, Bark Mirror Monarch was indeed unparalleled in the universe. Bark Mirror Monarch took a step forward, his eyes focused. Following which, the complicated engravings on his scales lit up. His pair of golden eyes produced a phantom gaze that seemed to be able to illuminate the endless void. Ahead. Bark Mirror Monarch looked ahead and said coldly and confidently, there is no danger on the island. Once we leave the island, it will be the 9 Underworld's ocean below. The danger within 32 million kilometers of the desolate rock island is negligible. The deeper you go, the more danger there will be. I have already discovered a universe paragon rank creature. Bark Mirror Monarch then turned to look in another direction. He said look. In reality, it was his innate secret technique, Universe Mirror. Once it was activated, it could scan 1 billion km in a straight line. It was as if everything was reflected in a mirror, reflecting everything clearly. Any danger could be seen clearly. Unless one became a universe lord, they would be able to completely control a region of space. Otherwise, they would definitely not be able to avoid this universe mirror. Furthermore, once Bark Mirror Monarch scanned them, the other experts would not even notice. In this direction, I discovered an undying rank unique life form. Bark Mirror Monarch looked around. When Bark Mirror Monarch looked to the right, he was slightly startled and then revealed a strange smile. Bark Mirror Monarch, what did you discover? Supremacy Zia could not help but ask. How to guess what I discovered? Bark Mirror Monarch had a strange expression. Supremacy Zia and the other 5 undying inheritors were confused. Haha, it's the famous Blade River King. Bark Mirror Monarch said. Blade River King? Supremacy Zia and the 5 undying inheritors were shocked. Interesting, I didn't expect this Blade River King to dare to come to the 9 Underworlds dimension. I heard he has a pair of treasured wings that are good at escaping. I can't attack him on Circus Island, but this is a good chance. Bark Mirror Monarch stuck out his scarlet tongue and licked his lips, revealing his fangs. Bark Mirror Monarch, you. Supremacy Zia was shocked. If you don't dare. My North Border Alliance is not afraid of the Humanity Alliance. Bark Mirror Monarch sneered. Supremacy Zia, you don't have to interfere, you don't have to get involved in this mess. However, you have to behave yourself, don't remind that Blade River King, otherwise you'll be making me your enemy. Relax, I won't interfere. Supremacy Zia nodded helplessly. The North Border Alliance was the alliance with the largest number of races in the universe. It was also one of the pinnacle powers, completely comparable to the human, demon and bug races. Let's go. Bark Mirror Monarch smiled and immediately flew into the distance. He didn't dare fly too fast, afraid of causing a commotion. If I can get that treasure wing, then this trip to the 9 Underworlds dimension would be worth it. I wouldn't even have to risk my life in the 9 Underworlds Ocean. Bark Mirror Monarch's golden eyes were filled with greed. He was a special life form, his nature was greedy and vicious. He didn't feel ashamed at all. Within the cave on the mountain peak, Luo Feng used the mini detector to hide his identity. He sat crossed-legged here. He didn't even notice the scanning technique Bark Mirror Monarch used earlier. It was obvious that such a method had surpassed the detection limit of the miniature detector. There's still 1 more month. 1 more month and I'll be able to get the World Tree Leaf and nurture my 3rd body before stepping into the undying level. Luo Feng was filled with anticipation as he waited. He didn't know that Bark Mirror Emperor and the other 6 warriors had already arrived outside the mountain peak. Stop. Bark Mirror Emperor ordered. Supremacy Zia and the others all stopped in the distance. That human has a mini detector. Bark Mirror Emperor smiled. However, those bullshit detectors, even the pinnacle of the automaton race's detectors can't compare to my natural talents. Lock. Bark Mirror Emperor looked at the mountain peak before him and immediately activated the space lock. Immediately half of the desolate rock island's space ripples completely stopped. Go in. So, Bark Mirror Emperor was the first to rush towards the mountain peak. The other 6 silhouettes followed. Not good. The moment he felt the space lock, LuoFeng's gaze swept across the rubble within the cave. Amongst the rubble, one of them was a disguised token. In another cave within the mountain peak, there was another token. This was used by the servants to teleport from their god countries. Even if I leave temporarily, I can teleport back in the future. LuoFeng's wings flapped and he immediately rushed out of the cave. The moment he rushed out of the cave, Luo Feng felt a strong pressure bearing down on him. A slightly arched figure, similar to a werewolf, however his entire body was covered in scales. The scales were filled with mysterious origin law engravings. His face had a golden mane and golden eyes. He broke through the air and stared hard at Luo Feng. Bark Mirror Emperor. Luo Feng was shocked. The most famous special life forms on Circus Island were all not to be messed with. Bark Mirror Emperor, adept at tracking and killing. His nature was greedy and vicious. So. LuoFeng's wings flapped and his speed soared. Haha, Blade River Emperor, you still think you can escape from me? Haha, I, Bark Mirror Emperor, am famous for my tracking skills. I'm extremely talented in space and I'm naturally fast. My body also far surpasses yours. Let's see who's faster, you or me. Bark Mirror Emperor's speed soared as he chased after Luo Feng. Bark Mirror Emperor's body was extremely powerful. His life force was 2,000 times that of a normal warrior. The limit of an emperor was 100,000 Sector Lord strength. Bark Mirror Emperor had 200 million Sector Lord strength, allowing him to completely match a universe knight. The strength of his body along with his speed. Bark Mirror Emperor's speed continued to rise. LuoFeng's speed too rose. What? Luo Feng was shocked to find that ever since he had the killer Wu wings, this was the first time he wasn't able to pull away. And Bark Mirror Emperor was still closing in. Second form. Luo Feng had to admit that he had underestimated this Bark Mirror Emperor. He couldn't care less about anything else and immediately activated the Wu killer wings. The feathers on the wings were all like slender blades, the rows of blades lined up neatly. Hua hua, it immediately tore through the surrounding space, forming a space vortex. Within the space vortex, Luo Feng's silhouette was blurry. Today was the second time. Even Bark Mirror Emperor who was chasing from behind was caught in the space turbulence. This space turbulence was filled with all sorts of space shards. Every shard was no weaker than a planet crashing into it. This caused Bark Mirror Emperor to charge about within the space turbulence, smashing through countless shards. However, his speed was greatly reduced and he had no way to chase Luo Feng. Bark Mirror Emperor wasn't angry, instead he was happy. He communicated, the power of the treasure is indeed extraordinary. However, such a treasure you as a human have no right to possess it. I am a powerful life form of the universe, only I am worthy of such a treasure. Hand it over and I'll spare your life. Rumble. Bark Mirror Emperor's energy rose fiercely. He had already ignited his body. For the treasure he wasn't stingy with it. And the Northern Border Alliance had provided him with endless resources to absorb him. He had many treasures to recover his body. Rumble. With a body that surpassed a normal knight's, the moment he ignited his body, Bark Mirror Emperor's strength immediately rose to a heavenly level. Rumble. Bark Mirror Emperor's speed immediately rose again. He immediately smashed a wide path through the space turbulence. All the shards of space that obstructed him were shattered into particles. Luo Feng, who was already giving it his all, realized that Bark Mirror Emperor's speed had risen and was swiftly catching up. My speed can't compare to his. Luo Feng saw that the situation wasn't good. He immediately flapped his wings. Shwa. Luo Feng was like a butterfly, constantly changing directions within the space turbulence. Sometimes he would rush forward, sometimes he would fly left, even fiercely turning. His direction was constantly changing like a demon. One had to know that the faster one went, the harder it was to change directions. Just like a speeding sports car, suddenly changing directions could very well flip. Same logic, Bark Mirror Emperor was caught off guard. So agile? Bark Mirror Emperor too constantly changed directions to chase after Luo Feng. In terms of straight line speed, even if Luo Feng unleashed the second form of the Killer Wu wings and formed the space turbulence, he still couldn't beat the burning body special life form Bark Mirror Emperor. However, the moment he changed directions, Bark Mirror Emperor panicked a little. Seal. Bark Mirror Emperor raged. He immediately used his god energy to suppress Luo Feng. However, Luo Feng's Killer Wu wings immediately tore it apart. Bark Mirror Emperor, why are you chasing me? Luo Feng communicated. My treasured wings were bestowed by the Universe Lord. Even if you snatch it away, I'm afraid in the future, someone will snatch it back. Haha, don't use the Master of the Universe to pressure me. Your human alliance has a Master of the Universe, but does the Northern Border Alliance not have one? Haha, a treasure is indeed a treasure. My foundation has surpassed you by so much, and my acceleration has surpassed yours, but my agility is far inferior to yours. I can only rely on my speed to catch up to you again and again, so that you can't shake me off. Bark Mirror Monarch was very excited. Venerable Crow and the other 5 immortal inheritors watched as Bark Mirror King chased after Blade River King. They had already rushed out of the desolate rock island and were flying above the 9 Underworlds Ocean. Bark Mirror Monarch can't catch up even after burning his divine body? As expected of a supreme treasure. Burning the divine body can greatly increase the speed, but the faster the speed, the harder it is to change directions, Venerable Crow said. Barking Mirror King can only guarantee that he won't be shaken off. I guess it's time to act. Bark Mirror King couldn't catch up. Finally, a purple crystal ball appeared in front of him. So, this purple crystal ball, under the control of Bark Mirror Emperor's divine energy, its speed naturally far exceeded Bark Mirror Emperor's. It immediately reached the sky above Luo Feng, and the purple crystal ball's size expanded fiercely. From the palm size before, it had already become a huge star with a diameter of 1,000 kilometers. At the bottom of the star was a huge hole. Rumble, a whirlpool appeared within the hole, and a huge swallowing energy affected Luo Feng's body. Luo Feng, who was originally incredibly agile and constantly changing directions in midair, was immediately affected. This is my sealing treasure. Although I don't understand the complete space law with this treasure and my burning divine power, I'm afraid it's even stronger than the sealing methods of universe supremacies. I don't believe that you can break free. Bark Mirror Monarch laughed out loud as he transmitted his voice. Luo Feng was caught in the endless swallowing energy, and his movements were a little messy. When using sealing treasures, one would first heavily injure the enemy, and when the enemy's resistance is extremely weak, one would then suppress and seal them. You actually think you can just seal me, dream on? Luo Feng raged within. Killer Wu feather, break it. Immediately the edges of the Killer Wu feather had many sharp blades slicing through the space, destroying everything. There were many treasures. The sealing treasures were strong in suppressing and sealing, and their attacks were usually very weak. To directly swallow a strong warrior, unless the difference in strength between the two was too huge, it was impossible. Luo Feng believed, with the Wu Killer wings on him, if Bark Mirror Emperor used a long-range attack, he definitely wouldn't be able to block it. However, just relying on the swallowing power of the sealing treasure to suck him in, that was too arrogant. Chi. Luo Feng was within the endless swallowing energy, the Wu Killer wings slicing and shattering, finally allowing him to rush out of the swallowing area. This scene made the laughing Bark Mirror Emperor stunned, after which he sneered, the treasure is indeed extraordinary. Blade River Emperor, I originally didn't want to kill you, but now, don't blame me. Bark Mirror Emperor suddenly opened his mouth. Silence. The entire land and skies went silent. Bark Mirror Emperor's mouth was opened extremely wide. In the distance, Zia Knight and the other 5 were shocked as they saw this. With Bark Mirror Emperor's roar, that Blade River Emperor is probably going to die. Blade River Emperor has a natural talent to create clones. No matter what, this clone is probably going to die, and his treasures are going to fall into Bark Mirror Emperor's hands. The 5 Undyings communicated within. Zia Knight thought so too. Because Bark Mirror Emperor's 2 natural talents were definitely unparalleled in the universe, one scanning and the other attacking. Scanning, one could see through everything. Attacking, one could destroy the soul. Luo Feng felt a formless attack descend upon him the moment Bark Mirror Emperor opened his mouth. Howl, an incomparably terrifying soul roared. Even with Luo Feng's willpower, his consciousness instantly went blank. This soul roar seemed like it was about to destroy Luo Feng's soul, and the pagoda pearl within the core of his soul immediately appeared, glowing brightly and enveloping his soul. Roars resounded. Even before Luo Feng's soul, Bark Mirror Emperor's head appeared, it opened its huge mouth and roared at Luo Feng's soul. Wung, the pagoda pearl too was slightly trembling. Luo Feng's soul was trembling, his spirit energy at the edge was completely destroyed, leaving only the core of his soul protected by the pagoda pearl, resisting with all his might. Howl, the roars resounded. Wung, the pagoda pearl did its best to suppress and protect him. What a terrifying technique. Luo Feng's consciousness went blank, following which he regained consciousness, feeling shocked within his body. Before the pagoda pearl appeared, just the moment the attack descended, my consciousness was already blank. Obviously I had no way to resist at all. If it wasn't for the pagoda pearl, I would definitely have been crushed into nothing. And even with the pagoda pearl appearing, it was still very taxing. Luo Feng was shocked. The stronger the special life form, the more heaven-defying their natural abilities were. Like Silver Eye, they were still considered normal. Like Bark Mirror Emperor and Bug Emperor, their natural abilities were even more unbelievable. Flee. The moment Luo Feng awoke, he knew he couldn't escape no matter how he flew. Gritting his teeth, he rushed down towards the Nine Underworld Ocean. The Nine Underworld Ocean was the most vast and most dangerous place in the entire space, especially the Nine Underworld Whirlpool. However, at this time Luo Feng couldn't care less. The water exploded. Luo Feng had already rushed into the Nine Underworld Ocean. Impossible. The Bark Mirror Monarch's eyes were filled with shock. He couldn't believe that the Blade River Monarch was able to resist the attack that he was so proud of. His expression immediately turned sinister as he roared and charged into the sea of 9 underworlds. In the air above the ocean, Xia Knight and the other 5 watched from above. They were all shocked. He blocked it. He actually didn't die? The 6 of them couldn't believe it. Xia Knight shook his head. Bark Mirror Emperor's body is incomparably strong, able to fight against a Universe Knight. Right now burning his god energy to unleash his natural ability. This move's power is definitely comparable to a normal attack from a Universe Tyrant. With this level of power, how could that human Blade River Emperor block it? Xia Knight, Bark Mirror Emperor has the strength of a Universe Knight, burning his god energy to unleash his natural ability attack. How could he possibly block it? Don't tell me he has another treasure, one that protects the soul? A treasure that protects the soul? The other inheritors were shocked. Right, a treasure. Xia Knight nodded. He's a human, he has a soul, he definitely suffered that attack with his own strength, he couldn't block it, it has to be a treasure. A treasure that protects the soul. That Bug Emperor even has 2 treasures, the human values the Blade River Emperor so much, it's possible he has 2 treasures. It's actually 2 treasures. The other 5 inheritors couldn't believe it. Too crazy. Xia Knight couldn't help but feel greedy, he was a Universe Knight, yet he didn't have a single treasure. And Bark Mirror Emperor and Bug Emperor both had treasures on them. Even this Blade River Emperor actually had 2 treasures on him. If I'm lucky enough to get it, I'll just hide. These are 2 treasures. One is a pair of wings for escaping, and the other is to protect my soul. Venerable Crow's eyes flashed with an ominous glint, and he immediately rushed towards the sea below. The cold ocean, the water was filled with a heart-palpitating energy. Hong Long, the Bark Mirror King chased frantically within the seawater, constantly maintaining the spatial seal. At the same time it roared, "Human, you can't escape. You are actually able to block my innate secret technique attack. You must have a treasure that protects your soul. You must have one. It's all mine, it's all mine." Bark Mirror Emperor was completely mad. Soul-protecting treasures were even rarer and more valuable than flying treasures. So, Luo Feng however was constantly changing directions in the endless 9 Underworld Ocean, heading deeper and deeper. Wherever there was danger he would head there. In the depths of the 9 Underworld Ocean, every drop of water was as heavy as a mountain. However, whether it was Luo Feng or Bark Mirror Emperor, they were both using their fastest speeds, one fleeing and the other chasing. "Blade River Emperor, you can't escape." Bark Mirror Emperor roared excitedly, "Haha, your escaping ability is impressive. Your ability to defend against soul attacks is impressive. I don't believe you can block my powerful material attacks. Unless you have a flying palace-type treasure, die." Rumble. Bark Mirror Emperor waved his claws fiercely and a terrifying grey god energy shot straight at the distant Luo Feng who was constantly changing directions. Not good. Luo Feng was shocked. Even though Bark Mirror Emperor walked the path of a fighter, releasing his god energy to attack was a very simple method. It was just that these methods were usually weaker. However, Bark Mirror Emperor's god energy was already heavenly. Now that he was burning his god energy, even with such a weak method, the moment that extremely condensed god energy hit him, he would be done for. There were many types of treasures. For instance, the Heavenly Wolf Palace and the Star Tower were both considered as flying palaces. And the Calamity Armor was a protective armor. To truly escape, treasures like Sky Wolf Palace were much more useful. As long as Luo Feng hid within it, even if the enemy attacked the palace, they wouldn't be able to hurt him. It's a pity I don't have such a treasure. Luo Feng maintained high-speed changing directions. Every time the wings shook, it would cause a huge space turbulence. The god energy beam pierced through the endless ocean and the space turbulence, whistling past Luo Feng's left. I dodged it. Luo Feng let out a sigh of relief. He had been maintaining high-speed changing directions. Just like a bullet on Earth, as long as he kept changing directions, it was hard to hit. Haha, you dodged once. Let's see how many more you can dodge. Bark Mirror Emperor laughed proudly. You really don't have a flying palace-type treasure. Ha ha ha, Blade River Emperor, you rely on your wings to escape, you rely on your soul attacks to defend against soul attacks. However, you don't have any specialized treasures to defend against material attacks. What a pity, you're dead for sure. Rumble. Two god energy beams shot straight at Luo Feng. It did not contain any comprehension of the laws. It relied on the divine power of a powerful universe venerable, and it was in a combusting state. My speed can't catch up to you, but my divine power can't catch up to you? Bark Mirror Emperor's eyes were filled with madness. His strength far exceeded Luo Feng's. It was like chasing an ant. This ant was extremely agile and had a soul treasure. However, as long as he relied on his god energy to crush him, unless he had a supreme treasure like the heavenly wolf hall, he would definitely die. Do I have to call the Masha clan's clone back? Luo Feng changed directions irregularly. A beam of god energy was dodged and another beam of god energy brushed past the edges of his wings, causing his entire body to fiercely turn and change directions to escape. The Wu killer wings were pushed to their limits. Even though the Masha clansman has the natural ability domain, it can only move itself anywhere within the domain. It's unable to bring other life forms. Luo Feng thought. This was the limitation of a domain. Domain and teleportation were two completely different methods. Teleportation could bring other life forms along, entering the ripples of space and instantly teleporting far away. Domain was when the Masha clansman first completely transformed into a 10,000 kilometers diameter space, merging with the original space, following which the space would return to the Masha clansman. The Masha clansman could transform into space. However, Luo Feng's main body couldn't. Unless his main body entered the world ring and the Masha clansman carried it into his body, only then would it work. However, with Bark Mirror Emperor's god energy, how would he give his main body the chance to enter the world ring? He escaped again? Bark Mirror Emperor laughed oddly and communicated. You actually dodged twice, haha, that treasure pair of wings makes your escaping ability very strong. I want to see you dodge like this for the third time. Bark Mirror Emperor's eyes revealed a sense of madness. At the same time a surge of god energy began to gather. God energy was only powerful when it was gathered. If it was spread over 100 million km, the scattered god energy would be very weak. It could only be used for scouting etc., it couldn't be used to attack. The god energy's most condensed form was the god body. God energy threads. Prison. Bark Mirror Emperor fiercely extended his claws. Immediately thousands of god energy threads, incomparably sturdy threads, shot through the sky and chased after Luo Feng. Every thread was at its most condensed state, comparable to Bark Mirror Emperor's god body. Just this simple move used up 10% of Bark Mirror Emperor's god body. From the start of the battle till now, the other moves only used up 1% of his god energy. However, this move used up 10%. Firstly, it used up a high amount of god energy, it was at its most condensed state. Secondly, it used up a large amount, thousands of god energy threads. You have nowhere to run. Bark Mirror Emperor's eyes were filled with greed. 2 treasures, if he had these 2 treasures to protect his life, even against a universe tyrant he would have a chance of escaping. Suddenly, a huge whirlpool appeared in the Nine Abyss Ocean. The whirlpool reached into the sky, the pulling force was extremely strong. Within the whirlpool there was a towering blood-red silhouette. It had an incomparably tall and sturdy body, with 2 curved blood-colored horns. It let out a low roar, the roar resounded within Bark Mirror Emperor's mind. Outsider, you dare wreak havoc in my Nine Abyss Ocean, die. What? Bark Mirror Emperor turned to look, shocked. Nine Abyss Whirlpool. A warrior from the Nine Abyss Whirlpool? He had only heard that the Nine Abyss Ocean was filled with danger, and the most dangerous was the Nine Abyss Whirlpool. However, he never expected that this whirlpool would appear out of nowhere, and that a universe knight would appear from within. Especially from the strength of his energy, it definitely had the ability to suppress Bark Mirror Emperor. Rumble. The burning blood light immediately enveloped Bark Mirror Emperor. Scram. Bark Mirror Emperor fiercely controlled his god energy threads. Killing Luo Feng was much easier, the Nine Abyss Whirlpool warrior before him was the true enemy. The thousands of god energy threads that took up 10% of his body immediately formed a long spear and pierced towards the glaring burning blood light. The two clashed, the ocean water exploded, the undercurrent surged, the two were actually evenly matched. Some strength. The universe knight was shocked. Die. Bark Mirror Emperor followed closely and opened his mouth, unleashing his natural ability. Silence. The surrounding ocean water was silent, without a sound, it directly struck the Nine Abyss Whirlpool warrior. Haha, soul attacks are useless against my race. The blood-colored horn tall and sturdy silhouette roared and rushed over. You can't do anything to me. However, Bark Mirror Monarch was not afraid. In that instant exchange just now, he understood that he was slightly weaker than the expert in the Nine Underworld Whirlpool. This was because the thousands of threads that formed the long spear took up 10% of his divine body. The opponent's attack probably only consumed 1% to 2% of his divine body. The two were evenly matched and now the soul attack was ineffective. No wonder it said that after entering the Nine Abyss Whirlpool and entering the core of the Nine Abyss Ocean, not even 1 out of 100 universe knights survive. Just randomly popping out and he's this strong. Ignore him. Even though my strength isn't as strong as his, my escape techniques are stronger than his. Bark Mirror Emperor turned and chased Luo Feng. The blood-horn tall and sturdy silhouette chased after Bark Mirror Emperor. So, the two chased one after the other. Bark Mirror Emperor was adept at chasing and chasing, his speed was extremely fast. LuoFeng's second form couldn't even match up to him in a straight line. The blood-horn tall and sturdy silhouette's speed too couldn't match Bark Mirror Emperor. I'll kill you, Blade River Emperor, and leave immediately. Bark Mirror Emperor chased after Luo Feng and waved his claw. Immediately large amounts of god energy threads began to gather. Risk it all. Luo Feng couldn't care less about anything else. Gritting his teeth, he flapped his wings and rushed towards the Nine Abyss Whirlpool. Luo Feng really had no choice. His luck before was good. At the crucial moment, the blood-horn silhouette appeared, allowing Bark Mirror Emperor to control his god energy threads to deal with the one with the greatest threat. However, this time, Bark Mirror Emperor knew he wasn't a match for the one behind, hence he focused on killing Luo Feng. Rumble, the Nine Abyss Whirlpool's tearing strength was shocking, its swallowing power was shocking too. Luo Feng rushed in and was swallowed deep within. No. Just as Bark Mirror Emperor gathered his god energy threads, he saw Blade River Emperor rush into the Nine Abyss Whirlpool and immediately raged. He was very strong. However, he didn't dare charge into the Nine Abyss Whirlpool. Luo Feng was forced into a corner, that was why he tried to survive. However, Bark Mirror Emperor had the ability to escape. Why would he charge into the Nine Abyss Whirlpool? What a waste of two treasures, my two treasures. Bark Mirror Emperor raged within and immediately rushed into the sky. Very quickly, Bark Mirror Emperor broke through the water and rushed into the sky. Outsider. Within the churning waves, the blood-horn silhouette stepped on the waves and looked up at the sky. Seeing Bark Mirror Emperor teleport and vanish, he grinned, at least you escaped quickly. Following closely, the blood-horn silhouette returned to the deep ocean. After a while, he arrived at the Nine Abyss Whirlpool. This blood-horn silhouette immediately entered the Nine Abyss Whirlpool and vanished. In the ocean. Crow Knight only then appeared. Secretly watching the scene, his eyes filled with shock. It said that the Nine Abyss Whirlpool leads to the core of the Nine Abyss Ocean. Looks like there should be a group of terrifying warriors living there. Just one of them is stronger than me. And they seem to be a race that doesn't fear soul attacks. It's a pity that the human Blade River Emperor entered the Nine Abyss Whirlpool too. He's dead and the treasures are probably lost in the core area. However, at least they didn't fall into Bark Mirror Emperor's hands. Traces of coldness flashed in Venerable Crow's eyes as he looked at the Nine Nether Vortex in the distance. Although the Nine Nether Vortex had appeared out of thin air, it still existed and would probably last for a long time. Moreover, the endless void in the depths of the Nine Nether Vortex had an inexplicable attraction that made Venerable Crow want to enter. How terrifying. Crow Knight was immediately shocked, looking fearfully at the Nine Abyss Whirlpool, a method to create a teleportation pathway out of thin air, and it's not even a god country teleportation. This is simply, no wonder it's the most dangerous place in the Nine Abyss space. Immediately he moved and vanished. The moment Luo Feng entered the Nine Whirlpool, he felt the sky-shattering energy. Like a millstone crushing a bean, his entire body's bones and tendons made cracking sounds, his face contorted. Just this force alone is enough to destroy me. Luo Feng was shocked. Sealing Star. Luo Feng couldn't care about anything else. Immediately a sealing star appeared and he entered it. So, the sealing star was a sealing-type treasure that contained a space within it. As long as one hid within the sealing star, the attacks from the outside would be blocked by the sealing star to the point where only 1,000th or even a 10,000th of the power of the attack would remain. However, there was a huge weakness to hiding within the sealing star. The enemy could directly grab the sealing star and take it away. Furthermore, flying and dodging within the sealing star would be much more difficult. This was also the main reason why Luo Feng didn't hide within the sealing star when he was being chased earlier. Within the sealing star was a beautiful world. In the sky there were beams of gold light streaking across the sky, the vast land was incredibly thick. Luo Feng stood within, his consciousness fusing with the sealing star, splitting his spirit energy to scan the outside world. It's a little like the space whirlpool in the mysterious land. Luo Feng thought. Earlier, due to the space whirlpool, he was fortunate enough to receive the transmission of the space heart, allowing the Masha clansmen to have a huge opportunity. I've arrived. Luo Feng swiftly felt his surroundings stabilize. Using his spirit energy to scan the outside world, Luo Feng was shocked. He could clearly feel that within a 100 kilometers radius, there was a foreign race army. All of them were blood-red, tall and sturdy, with blood-colored curved horns. It was obvious they were from the same race as the foreign race knight that chased after Bark Mirror Emperor. HM treasure? What treasure is this? Seeing the star that appeared out of nowhere, the few alien warriors who were closest to the whirlpool all flew over. But soon they felt a wave of mental power sweeping over. Outsiders. It's an outsider. The few non-humankind warriors immediately roared out. The star suddenly disappeared, and a silver-armored, silver-winged man appeared out of thin air. I won't be accompanying you. LuoFeng's gaze swept. There were a total of 300 of them stationed here, all of them undying. The leader's aura was incredibly strong. He was probably an emperor-level invincible. Any random team that's stationed here is already so strong. According to my knowledge, there are many 9 hell vortexes in the 9 hell sea, and I'm afraid there are many teleportation formations that are stationed here. LuoFeng's heart went cold. Even the human race wouldn't be so extravagant as to have 300 undying warriors guard a place. Whoosh. Luo Feng was shocked, but his movements were fast. With a flap of his wings, he broke through the sky. An outsider. Quick chase. Many non-humankind soldiers were excited, as if they were hunters who had seen their prey. The leader of the team roared, "Team 1, Team 2, follow me. The third team will continue to stand guard." Roar. Immediately, many blood-colored silhouettes flew through the air, all of them howling excitedly. About 200 silhouettes chased after Luo Feng. As Luo Feng fled, he swiftly felt the difference between this world and the outside world. What a strong resistance. Luo Feng looked up at the sky. This was a land that was different from the other regions of the Nine Hellspace. In the sky there were actually resplendent stars, and in the air, there were visible threads of mist like blood energy currents, causing the entire world to be filled with a special energy. This energy caused the space ripples in this land to completely stop, and also suppressed all God Country teleportation. I can't teleport. I can't teleport from God Country. Luo Feng understood why even the universe knights and foreign races used the wormhole like 9 hell whirlpools to leave, and not teleport or God Country teleportation. Roar. Ha ha ha. Outsider, this is my race's land. You outsiders are greatly suppressed here, while we are fine you can't escape. Voices transmitted through the God energy, exploding in Luo Feng's ears. Luo Feng turned to look, the many blood-colored silhouettes were swiftly chasing after him. Luo Feng could feel that even though the blood-colored mist had sealed the space ripples, these foreign race beings were like fish in water when they flew. It was extremely easy. Just you undyings want to chase me. Luo Feng's Wu killer wings immediately created a space turbulence. Simultaneously his speed rose rapidly. The group of foreign race warriors could only watch as Luo Feng got further and further away, quickly becoming a silver dot and disappearing from their vision. This made them all look at each other, dumbfounded. How can he be so fast? This outsider only has one undying, how can he be faster than us in our world? The foreign race warriors were caught off guard. Over the long years, they had long accumulated experience in dealing with outsiders. If it was an undying level outsider, the moment he entered their home world, he would be suppressed and his speed would decrease, allowing them to easily catch up to him. And if it was a universe supremacy level foreign race, they would immediately report it and let the universe supremacies within their race take action. Damn. The largest blood-colored horned silhouette roared. Even an undying managed to escape. Captain, what do we do? What do we do now? The other warriors looked at the captain. The tall blood-horned silhouette roared. Report. If we don't, do you want to die? In the vast land and skies, stars hung in the sky, and there was a blood-colored energy flow. In this land and skies there were mountain ranges, rivers, flowers and grass. What a huge world. I've already fled 10 billion kilometers and I still haven't found any signs of the other races. Luo Feng sat crossed-legged in the grass. The lush grass completely covered him. From this, it can be seen that the numbers of these foreign races are very small, however their strength is extremely strong. I can't teleport from the God Country. Luo Feng thought, meaning if I can't escape I can only be like prey hunted down and killed by these foreign races. According to legend, this is the core area of the Nine Underworld Ocean. Looking at the universe coordinates, this is still within the Nine Underworld space. Luo Feng checked the coordinates and discovered, the land and skies here belong to the bottom of the Nine Underworld Ocean. Even though I can't teleport, the Masha clansman's natural ability, domain, still has a way to enter. Luo Feng thought as long as he wasn't being chased, it was still very easy for the Masha clansman to enter. I'll wait first, the Masha clansman has already floated for so long, there's still a month before the final mission, I can't let it go to waste. And even if the Masha clansman enters, he doesn't have a 100% chance of escaping again. I'll contact my teacher first. Luo Feng thought for a while, feeling that the situation had already developed beyond his control, and the World Tree Leaf was something he had to get. Just as Luo Feng was communicating with the Primal Chaos City leader through the virtual universe, in the core of the Nine Underworld space, within a large ancient city, there was also a virtual world constructed here, allowing the aboriginals to communicate easily through the virtual world. Outsider. Even an undying outsider, we actually couldn't catch him. A black-armored bloodhorn giant roared. Children, follow me. Yes, General. In one of the luxurious mansions in the ancient city, the black-armored, crimson-horned giant led an elite squad of 10 warriors and directly soared into the sky. Mama Tua. A voice suddenly resounded within the universe knight's mind. Breaking through the skies, the blood-horned giant's body trembled and stopped. The other outsider warriors behind him too stopped. General? The warrior asked curiously. It's the prince. The blood-horned giant said solemnly. Prince? The 10 captain-level elite warriors were all shocked, after which they couldn't help but bow. Even the universe knight bowed. In the distance, within the most majestic palace of the ancient city, 10 silhouettes broke through the skies and flew over. 3 of them had extremely powerful auras. The 10 silhouettes quickly arrived. Your Majesty. The universe knight bowed to show respect. Your Majesty. The 10 warriors immediately knelt down. These 10 silhouettes, the leader had a handsome face, his white face had blood-colored engravings, he wore a beautiful gold and blood-colored battle armor, the armor radiated a powerful ripple. This was the ripple of an ultimate treasure. Without a doubt he was the prince. The prince's aura was incredibly powerful, but his appearance was different from the rest of his race. Whether it was the Universe Knight from before, or the two Universe Knights and the group of Undyings behind the prince, their skin was blood-colored, and they had blood-colored horns. Judging from appearance, the prince and the other generals and soldiers, they looked like two different races. General Mama Tua, I've just received news that a small team under your command has discovered a foreign race. And this outsider is only an Undying, yet he managed to escape from your team? The prince's voice was elegant. Yes, your majesty. The horn giant said respectfully. Interesting, an Undying is actually this powerful. I heard that amongst the countless inheritors of the ancestral god sect, some Undyings are extremely powerful. The prince's voice was elegant. I'm also an Undying. I wonder who's stronger, me or him. Your majesty's might is limitless, how can that outsider be your opponent? The horn giant said. Don't underestimate the outsider. The prince said, let's go, lead the way. It's usually boring, hunting this Undying outsider is quite interesting. This. The horn giant was stunned. Afraid that I'll be in danger? The prince asked. I don't dare. The horn giant said. Humph, I have 108 brothers, none of them have fallen, what danger would there be? The prince said confidently, let's go. Yes. The horn giant could only accept. Immediately, 10 silhouettes surrounded the prince and went to hunt the Undying outsider.